Greetings. This is Paul the Poke from paulthepoke.com. Welcome to America Divided. We are February 3rd, 2024. We're going to take a quick look at Luke 11, verse 17. And this would be Jesus talking. But he, that's Jesus, knowing their thoughts, said to them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and a house divided against a house falls. So we're going to take a look at a couple of the words here in the quote from Jesus, specifically the word for divided, the Greek word diamerizo, to distribute, to divide, and it means divide into parts, plural. So it's not like it's going to cut it in half, but it's going to cut into multiple pieces. And man, look at our country. The landscape of America, we're divided in regards to special interests, politics, culture, race, economics, gender, religion, and on and on and on and on and on. Second word we want to look at for desolation, aramao, or aramoo, to desolate. And this word can also be translated or to mean destroyed or laid waste, stripped of treasures. You think about this country and all the blessings we've had from a natural resource standpoint. But the reality of this is very simple. This is our future, America, if we do not return to the United States of America. It's a simple statement. It's also very prophetic, and this is where we're headed. We're headed to non-existence, desolation, separation, fracture, and just not cut in half. I mean, it'll be multiple pieces is how this will go down. We sit here all the time. This is the most important election of our lifetime. They say that every election. Well, this is a big one. And frankly, with what we have to choose from at this point, whether it be Trump or Biden, half this country is going to be upset either way. Hearing some whispers of a potential third party that may come into play, say this spring. I guess we'll see if that materializes, and if so, then we'll deal with it at that time. The one I've heard that makes some sense, obviously we've heard RFK Jr., Robert Kennedy Jr. talking about a third party run. I've also heard the former senator from West Virginia, Manchin, has talked about making an independent run and taking an independent, spirited vice presidential candidate with him, Nikki Haley, which personally not excited about that, but also possibly Tulsi Gabbard. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But just back to the division of America. And it starts first and foremost with elections. The legitimacy of our elections is being called into question. We have dead people voting. I love that. They've traced some of these things back. We have people dead since a little bit past the Civil War. They're still voting. That's awesome. In some precincts, we have more votes than registered voters. Some of the strongholds of Philadelphia and Detroit, I think, have had some of these issues with dead voters and more votes than voters. We have illegal aliens voting. I've seen some documentation of that in California and Arizona, and I could go on and on. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time about it other than just to point it out. We also have even lost the ability to count in a timely manner. We are one of the most technologically advanced countries on the planet, and yet we cannot pull off an election and count our votes within 6 to 8 hours like the majority of the world. And then we had this come out. Now, this kind of got buried. This was in Georgia about a week ago, Friday, I guess it were. The Gateway Pundit posted on this. Professor and election expert Jay Halderman hacks into Dominion voting machine tabulator in court on Friday. That had been last Friday in Georgia. in front of Judge Totenberg using only a pen to change vote totals. Again, another conspiracy theory that's proven to be true. Here is the article itself for those of you who want to click on that and read it. I provided a link as well. Court drawing. Federal Court of the Northern District of Georgia unsealed the 96-page Halderman Report, Security Analysis of Georgia's ImageCast X ballot marking devices. Guys from University of Michigan had some practice. A lot of suspicion taking place up there in Michigan, in and around the Detroit area. Just saying. Far-left judge Amy Totenberg sealed and covered up the results of the investigation of Dominion voting machines in Georgia and sat on the report until this week. And it was unsealed, so I'm not accused, or, Gateway Pundit's not being accused. Here is the report. Download this bad boy yourself. I'm not going to get into the guts of it. It is what it is. But here's the court document. It has been unsealed for the whole planet to see. And look at that. That was written back in July of 2021 and wasn't unsealed until January of 2024. So 2.5 years later. And this would have been about a year and a half after the election. So, obviously people smelled there were some problems with all of this going on and looked into it, found some of the issues. Again, a 96-page report. You can download the report if you care to look at it. Just so you can see, here's the contents and the outline of the report. Not making this stuff up. And again, I'm not going to read all of it. But the point is the dude was able to hack into a machine, change the votes using a pen. Okay. Pretty tough stuff. Discovered vulnerabilities in nearly every part of the system. The most critical problem we found is an arbitrary code execution vulnerability that can be exploited to spread malware from a county's central election management system to every BMD in the jurisdiction. That would be a ballot marketing device. So that's where people go to vote. Our reporter explains how attackers could exploit the flaws we found to change votes or potentially even affect election outcomes in Georgia. No. Stunning. Used only a pen to change vote totals. Again, that's one of the same tweets I showed you guys. So anyhow, if you want to dig deep into that, read the guts, the specifics of the report, it's there for you. It's provided. Click on this link or click on the post at X, formerly known as Twitter, to look into that. And with that, not only with voting issues, we have powerful, rich forces are willing to bribe and manipulate political candidates. Arizona Republican Party Chair Jeff DeWitt, now he's resigned since this came out, effectively trying to bribe Kari Lake from running from the Senate. Now, if you do listen to this, there is some adult language, had some F-bombs flying around, so it is in there. And if that you don't want to hear it, I don't recommend you listening to this. But if you kind of want to see how things are done, what they're willing to do, how they're willing to kind of talk around some things and kind of poke and probe and hint and then come right out and say it. And here it is. And, DeWitt says there were forces from the East who wanted to prevent Kari Lake, and just point blank asked her at some point, what's the price? She said she couldn't be bought. Powerful people who want to keep you out. I think one of these is a 5-minute version. The other one's about a 10-minute version. She pushed back a little bit. I think you should go public with this. He said no, because if I turn my key in my car and boom, he's scared enough. But, what do you do? I kind of feel for the guy to some degree, but he got in bed with all these people, or somebody reached out to him and put him on the spot. I'm sure he got his couple bucks for it, but you can listen to either one of these. Click on the link. And then transitioning as a country, we have our tentacles in war all around the planet. We're funding Ukraine with money, weapons, personnel, or consultants. We're in the Red Sea with Iranian proxies, the Houthis. We're supporting Israel and Hamas. In fact, I think I saw today, Saturday the 3rd, Speaker Johnson introduced a bill, standalone bill for the funding of Israel only, but not Ukraine. Hamas is also an Iranian proxy, and it looks like things are heating up in the north on the Lebanon border with Hezbollah, again, another Iranian proxy. And if that's not enough for you, let's go to the Far East. China, things are acting up, heating up in the Taiwan Strait. North Korea continues to escalate in posture towards South Korea, Japan, and the United States. In fact, he's going around taking down some structures that are, that would have in the past promoted unification of the two Koreas into one. Well, no, we're not doing that anymore. He's going to take down those statues, and not for unification. He's wanting to bomb them. He's been firing off missiles and cruise missiles and ballistic missiles, testing things out. That being the chairman, the premier, Kim Jong-un. And then, unfortunately, we had 3 service members killed near the Syrian border earlier this week. Here's the press release. Ra's alerts. United States Central Command has released a statement declaring that 3 U.S. service members have been killed and that 25 others were injured in an attack on a base near the Syrian border. Here is the statement from U.S. Central Command. January 28, 3 U.S. service members were killed and 25 injured. That number has escalated close to 50. As time goes along, people who have trauma, head trauma, some of the symptoms show up days later. Initially, 25 injured from a one-way attack UAS that impacted at a base in northeast Jordan near the Syria border. As a matter of respect for the families and in accordance with Department of Defense policy, the identities of the service members will be withheld 24 hours after their next of kin have been notified. Updates will be provided as they become available on Facebook and X. So I pulled this off of X. And this was within the hour. This guy's awesome, Ian Ellis. His post, U.S. launched strikes yesterday, so that'd been the February 2nd, last evening, in Iraq and Syria, dropping 125 plus precision munitions in 30 minutes against Iranian proxies. So here's a little graphic he put together. This guy just puts together some really cool stuff, and he sources it too. So this is Department of Defense, U.S. CENTCOM, New York Times, Open Source Intelligence. So he's not just making a bunch of stuff up. He's going out doing his homework, trying to confirm this stuff, puts together some very nice graphics and maps. So you can get in the red circles. These are confirmed locations of strikes. The orange are unconfirmed locations. Many people have been asking, where exactly did this strike occur at Tower 22? Well, it's right here in the far northeast corner of Jordan in the blue on the Syrian-Iraqi border. It's like where those 3 come together. U.S. conducted retaliatory precision strikes on February 2nd. 85 plus targets struck at 7 locations, 3 in Iraq, 4 in Syria. 125 plus precision guided munitions against Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, Quds Force, and affiliated groups. B-1B Lancer bombers flown from U.S. land-based fighters, F-15s and 16s previously. U.S. Air Operation, U.S. Navy did not participate. Now, there are also ongoing strikes taking place off the coast of Yemen down in the southern Red Sea, and CENTCOM has been very careful to report that these are separate from each other, not part of, one is not part of the other. They are independent is the idea. So we have the United States has declared active activity here in the Middle East in a couple of areas. So again, we're fighting all over the place, and we are a source of, and this whole thing in the Middle East is crazy because they being Iranian proxies have attacked over 100 times, and we've just done nothing until this. And we've broadcast this: hey, we're coming, hey, we're gonna do it, hey, we've let some planes take off, strikes are coming. I don't understand it. I don't get it, but that's how we're doing it. And if that's not enough there, so I've been listening to some of the commentary on this, and the question is, which are we going to have first, World War III or a civil war in the United States? Are we going to be an instigator of World War III, or is civil war going to break out in our own company? And it's a race to see which one is first, as some pundits assess the situation. And we go to the southern border, Texas specifically, the Rio Grande River. And the reality is we have a sitting president, that's Biden, whose policy has allowed upwards of an estimated 6 million on the low end, 10 million on the top end, people into our country, unchecked. And these people have significant financial and material support. And this is the same government that is not protecting or tending to our own citizens. I mean, I think about the people in Hawaii and the fire and the devastation that brought. We haven't done boo to help those people, but yet, somebody shows up at our border, we'll give them tens of thousands of dollars of benefit, cards, loaded with money on them, cell phones, a plan, so we can contact them so they can have their day in the court to verify if they're going to be asylum seekers, maybe 2 or 3 years down the road, but we'll call them and let them know. That's why we gave them the phone, So the line of thinking goes, it's just stupid. But Texas has had enough. Greg Abbott, governor of Texas, his statement on Texas's constitutional right to self-defense. This was issued January 24th, last week. Here's the statement. Federal government has broken the compact between the United States and the states. The executive branch, that'd be Biden, has a constitutional duty to enforce federal laws protecting states, including immigration laws on the books. Right now, Biden has refused to enforce those laws and has even violated them. The result is that he has smashed records for illegal immigration. He came out yesterday. I've done all I can do. That's all I can do. I don't know what else I can do. I just don't have the authority to do anything about it. It's like, whatever. Trump did pretty good. All that money that's gone to Ukraine, we could have built several walls as a thought, multiple walls, with some very good electronic surveillance capabilities, and still had money left over to go to Ukraine the way you're spending money. Just a thought. President Biden has violated his oath to faithfully execute immigration laws enacted by Congress. Instead of prosecuting immigrants for federal crime of illegal entry, Biden has sent lawyers into courts to sue Texas for taking action to secure the border. Nice job, Joe. Biden has instructed his agencies to ignore federal statutes that mandate the detention of illegal immigrants. The effect is illegally allow their en masse parole into the U.S. Come on in, they say. Wasting taxpayer dollars to tear open Texas border security infrastructure. Biden has enticed illegal immigrants away from the 28 legal entry points along the state's southern border, bridges where nobody drowns, and into dangerous waters of the Rio Grande. Well, dangerous waters is debatable. I suppose they probably could be in some spots, but the swim across that thing's not very far in some cases. He says more than 6 million illegal immigrants have come in over the last 3 years. This is just mind-boggling, more than the population of 33 different states in this country. This illegal refusal to protect the states has inflicted unprecedented harm on the people all across the United States. No doubt. And I guess it's the mayor of New York City. He's wanting to have some big program to give these people all kinds of services, clothes, whatever. And that's gotten so bad in New York City that even 50 Cent has decided, hey, maybe we should vote for Trump. People are turning on the Democratic Party. I think both parties are fractured. That's what's amazing about this. And that speaks to the nature of this whole post. The divided states, divided America. I mean, the Republican Party's splintered, Democratic Party's splintered, and they're really at the core of it. There's one ruling class party who's getting what they want, and they don't care about we the people. They just don't. And it's, all that D and that R is just for show. The uniparty, the ruling class, whatever we want to call them. Who's going to stand up for people? And that's the argument of a lot of Trump voters. By the way, I'm just calling this as I see it. I'm not crazy about Trump. I'll be real honest with you. I don't think he has much of a chance of unifying this country either. Obviously, I'm not a Biden fan. And I'm still open to a third party that may do something more for the people of the United States, not all these politicians. I mean, it's nauseating just watching them and using their positions of power and influence and going and investing in companies based on the policy that they've created and the laws that they've created, how it's going to benefit different companies out there, corporate America, and go invest in their stock and buy options. And Nancy Pelosi, she made some more money the other day betting on stock options for NVIDIA AI chips, artificial intelligence. And she's not the worst. She's clearly the most visible, but there are Republicans that are abusing this worse than she is. So I'm not politically, I'm not a Republican. I am a registered libertarian, if anybody's wondering. So I don't like either party, for the record. Anyway, back to this nonsense we're discussing here. U.S. Constitution foresaw that the states should not be left to the mercy of a lawless president who does nothing to stop external threats like cartels, drug cartels. That's right. We got tons of drug money down there kind of really running the show. We'll skip down to all the articles. If you need to know the law specifically, there it is. For these reasons, I've already declared Texas's constitutional authority to defend and protect itself. That authority is the supreme law of the land and supersedes any federal statutes to the contrary. The Texas National Guard, Texas Department of Public Safety, and other Texas personnel are acting on that authority as well as the state law to secure the Texas border. And do not forget, that is the Republic of Texas. They were initially a nation before they came into the United States. They will tell you about that. There is a faction of those people who seriously mean it and want to get away from the United States of America and go back to being the Republic of Texas. And I think we have roughly 25 Republican governors who have signed on to support Texas and have sent troops, National Guard troops down there to help secure the border. I mean, some of that has been going on previously. But that has definitely picked up in pace. So we have that action. Now, of course, after this was announced by Governor Abbott, a couple of days later, coincidence, speculation on my part, probably not. Javier Blas, it's official, the White House announces a temporary pause on pending approvals of American liquefied natural gas export terminals. Here's a statement from Joe Biden. We got to click this up. This is a fact sheet from the president from the White House. The Biden-Harris administration announces temporary pause on pending approvals of liquefied natural gas exports. It's all about climate change, people. It is the existential threat of our time, and we must act with urgency. Go to the bold letters. Biden-Harris administration is announcing a temporary pause on pending decisions on exports of liquefied natural gas to non-FTA countries until the Department of Energy can update the underlying analysis for authorizations. Okay, word salad. Okay. U.S. is already the number one exporter of LNG worldwide. And we're just scratching the surface, frankly, of what we want to do. And this is what I guess bothers these people. Today's announcement will not impact our ability to continue supplying LNG to our allies in the near term. Well, it will in the future because of what's on the plan now, or what's on the or what is being planned. And then they're going to list their accomplishments, top climate accomplishments. And we wonder why inflation is going through the roof. This is a piece of the puzzle. I mean, set aside our economic policy, but look at some of the things we're doing from a just a red tape, government tape, bureaucratic tape to impact prices. Largest climate investment in history, the Inflation Reduction Act, which created inflation and really had nothing to do with, well, it actually had more to do with climate than it did economics. That's probably true. Okay, whatever. A whole government strategy to tackle methane emissions. Oh dear. So that's why we're writing stories and looking into cow flatulence and some other things. Reducing food waste and agricultural emissions. That's what I'm talking about there. Reclaiming abandoned coal mines. American Climate Corps. It's like the Peace Corps. We got the Climate Corps people. Conserving and restoring our lands and waters. Okay. Well, everybody's for clean water. Come on, dude. Most ambitious environmental justice agenda in history. The Justice 40 Initiative. Ensuring the benefits of President Biden's historic investments in America. Okay. Protected 26 million acres of lands and waters. Canceling remaining oil and gas leases. Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. Protects 13 million acres in the National Petroleum Reserve in Alaska. So hold it. National Petroleum Reserve. That's what that place was dedicated for. And we're going to stop any activity there. But, Biden did say he was going to end the use of fossil fuels, oil and gas, which we can have a little discussion one of these days about, quote, fossil fuels. Little thought-provoking statement here. Fossil fuels, oil, natural gas, methane, propane, etc. Why then are those big planets out there in our solar system called gas giants? Why is there methane, propane, liquid and gas form on some of the moons of these planets? if we follow some of these politicians' lines of thinking, that would mean that all these places had massive amounts of life once upon a time. Um, and how could life exist being that far away from a sun? I don't know. Just something to think about. Or maybe it's more about pressure uh, and some other variables that brings about the creation of these things, or they were created in this form and existed. And we're being told just the ultimate lie of poo about, quote, fossil fuels. That's not to say that, and I get some of these things do occur as a byproduct of fossils and junk and trash, but I really think it has more to do with pressure on certain things that leads to. Anyway, I'll be quiet. Just something to think about. Um, Executive order that sets an ambitious target to make half of all new vehicles sold in 2030 zero emissions. By the way, how much gas, natural gas, and gasoline are going to be expended to do the mining for these electrical vehicle batteries? Have we done a little cost analysis study of that? These are massive machines, by the way, that go after lithium and other things for battery production. How much gas and oil, gasoline, natural gas, propane are going to be burned to make all these EVs happen? I don't know. Proposed carbon pollution standards for coal and gas fired power plant emissions. Accelerated permitting of clean energy projects. Broke ground on 10 major transmission projects. Okay. Rallied world leaders to raise global climate ambition. Okay. Invoked the Defense Production Act. And we wonder why our prices for goods and the transport of the goods we use has exploded in price. And then, oh, yeah, by the way, print a whole bunch of money and issue a whole bunch of debt, block off the Red Sea. And we wonder why things are so expensive. No clue whatsoever. We blame it on something else. Here's and practically speaking, this is from Francesco Sassi, Frank Stones. U.S. has just announced a pause on all pending decisions for LNG export projects, consistent with Biden's fight to climate change and odds with Trump's energy playbook. Now, the issue gets to be, it's not so much the blue ones, it's the orange ones. The blue ones are either existing or under construction, but it's the orange ones of what's being proposed. These are the ones that are being frozen. This is what Biden is stopping for the moment. And if that's the case, now clearly Canada and Mexico stand to benefit because they're not stopping. But just look on the Gulf Coast alone, off the coast of Louisiana, outside of New Orleans and south. There's 4 along the Texas coast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. At least 15 LNG distribution terminals that has been frozen until they get a chance to look at it, so they say. And just to give you an idea when these would be looking to be coming online, so loosely 2031, 28, 31, 27 to be determined, no kidding. And then anywhere from 2024 to 2020, there's 28 is the latest one I see. So is the U.S. status of an LNG superpower at risk? Presidential elections are 10 months ahead. Biden administration is already building up the political platform to challenge Donald Trump. So this will be a significant issue. And again, these are more proposed. This is just a different graphic. The pink ones are the ones that are proposed. These are the ones that are have been impacted by the Biden-Harris administration declaration to currently freeze all these things. So all that said, as a country, I'll back up and make one more statement. All this methane, all this LNG, natural gas, CH4. Um, Now this is crazy talk too from yours truly. Let's take a look at hydrogen. The byproduct of a hydrogen fueled vehicle, hydrogen fueled engine is water. It's water. So if we use hydrogen, the byproduct is water, and it doesn't harm the environment. In fact, if anything, it puts water back into the environment. What a neat idea. CH4, 4 molecules, H2O, water, 2 molecules. And then, water as a byproduct of the hydrogen is water. It's renewable, reusable. Wow. What a neat idea. And that stuff, as related to a gallon of gas, for the water studies I've seen, a gallon of water would cost roughly 25 cents a gallon to run a car. Hydrogen fueled cars stripped down from methane would cost a nickel a gallon. I mean, so, a nickel a gallon versus what, $3 to $4 a gallon? You don't think that would make a difference on your personal gas bill? Electrical costs to run and heat and cool your home at a nickel a gallon versus, say, 20 to 25 cents a gallon. Just saying. Big fan of hydrogen here. Nobody is right now. It's got to matter at some point, but not yet. All that said, we need to, I recommend prayer, grace, forgiveness, and that's just it at some point. I know we have a great divide spiritually in our country, and there are those who just do not believe in deity, regardless of who it may be, whether it's the God of the Bible, the triune God of the Bible, or Islam, or Shinto, or whatever. But something's has got to bring as many people together as possible. Forgiveness, kindness, mercy, unity. And I think Galatians 5 verses 22 through 23 capture that. I sat there and thought about it for a while, but the fruit of the Spirit is love. It needs to start with love. We could use joy, some happiness, peace, patience, kindness. Kindness is pretty universal. Goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such things there is no law. And that's pretty much the Apostle Paul's comments there. Just go out and be kind and good to people. What if we all committed to doing that? It'd change things. And those who belong to Christ Jesus have crucified the flesh with its passions and desires. So, and right now it seems pretty bleak. I get it. Very divided. But it needs to start probably with those who believe in Christ. And even if you don't, there are just some fundamental things that are just good, decent things. Just go be good to people. Go be kind to people. Show them love. Be peaceful with people. Be gentle. I know these things come from God. Go demonstrate them. I wonder what will happen. At any rate, just kind of some things just sitting around observing. I generally speaking try to stay away from politics. However, that's probably going to be pretty hard leading up to 2024. But my hope and prayer for myself is that I keep focused on God's words and concepts and not get hung up in the the division that the society has created with the D and the R, the Democrat and the Republican, and stay focused on God's words, God's concepts, and that those things come through. So, but again, to follow back up, here's one Bible verse, and it just blows me away how one verse pretty much captures the state of our country the way it is right now, and how, as applied, what's coming. It tells us what's coming if we don't get our act together and get back together and get united. Division with elections, how that's affects it or has affected us. We got war, rumors of war. We're divided on how to manage all these issues with all these different countries. It is what it is. For those of you who have followed along, commented, I really appreciate that. And appreciate you taking the time to comment and share with others. Please feel free to continue to do that. As you know, I'm of the mindset. Our time's running short. It would appear, well, obviously, with each passing day, the good Lord's return is getting closer and closer. And it just makes you wonder how much longer we have before he shows up. So feel free to share with others. PaulThePoke.com. This is going to be categorized under culture, prophecy, trend update. Here are some of the SEO terms, tags, topics that we covered in this post. And if you're not a subscriber, type in your email here, hit subscribe. You'll be notified every time we put out something. Getting things out about once a week right now. Probably need to get back into putting some things up, other content from others. Haven't done that in a while. Had a lot of things going on personally. So looking to get back into that. Hopefully here into 24. I have the content. I just have not had the time to put it up. And we'll be looking to do that moving forward. So appreciate all you guys. Take care. Have a good evening. Bye.